Hare Krishna, seventh chapter of the Bhagavad Gita. I hope everyone is doing well in the easing of international lockdowns. I think I'm pretty safe to say that that's more or less happening everywhere. Less so in India, but even still there, some changes. And we're entering into a real different era of the Bhagavad Gita. Era, I mean a completely different message, a message that complements the previous messages, but a difference in terms of emphasis. With the seventh chapter, we begin the 6 chapters of the Bhagavad Gita that speak about Bhakti Yoga. In the first 6, the emphasis is on Karma Yoga. The last 6, it's on Jnana Yoga. And now here it is on Bhakti Yoga. Bhakti Yoga is present throughout, and these different other aspects are also present throughout the Bhagavad Gita. But there's different emphasis placed on them according to different types of practitioners. But that's going to be part of a reading I'm also doing. So this is the first verse of the 7th chapter. Sri Bhagavan Uvacha. Bhagavan is another name for Krishna. Bhagavan actually means the Supreme Personality of Godhead, the Supreme Being, the Supreme Person, that's who is called Bhagavan. And he says, Maya Sakta Manaparta Yogam Yujad Madashraya Asamshayam Shamagram Mam Yata Gyashashitach Shrinu. Now hear, O son of Pritha, how by practicing yoga in full consciousness of me, with mind attached to me, you can know me in full, free from doubt. Supreme Personality of Godhead said, now hear, O son of Pritha, how by practicing yoga in full consciousness of me, with mind attached to me, you can know me in full, free from doubt. Here, when Krishna is talking about yoga, he's talking about yoga in a very general sense. He's not talking about Ashtanga yoga or Hatha yoga. He's talking about yoga specifically, bhakti yoga. But as I've mentioned before, the word yoga has generic connotations like education. Education means grade school. Education means university. It's all education. Similarly, yoga, the method of connecting with the Supreme, is varied, and the fastest and actually the pinnacle of that yoga process, as was discussed in the previous talk, the last verse of the 6th chapter, if you remember, when Krishna compares the different types of yogis. Now let me read a paragraph here from the purport of my spiritual master, Bhaktivedanta Swami Prabhupada. In the first 6 chapters of the Bhagavad Gita, the living entity has been described as non-material spirit soul, capable of elevating himself to self-realization by different types of yogas. At the end of the 6th chapter, it has been clearly stated that the steady concentration of the mind upon Krishna, or in other words, Krishna consciousness, is the highest form of all yoga. By concentrating one's mind upon Krishna, one is able to know the absolute truth completely, but not otherwise. Impersonal Brahmajyoti, Brahmajyoti means impersonal energy, or localized Paramatma realization is not perfect knowledge of the absolute truth because it is partial. Full and scientific knowledge is Krishna, and everything is revealed to the person in Krishna consciousness. In complete Krishna consciousness, one knows that Krishna is the ultimate knowledge beyond any doubts. Different types of yogas are only stepping stones on the path of Krishna consciousness. One who takes directly to Krishna consciousness automatically knows about Brahmajyoti and Paramatma in full. By practice of Krishna consciousness yoga, one can know everything in full, namely the absolute truth, the living entities, the material nature, and their manifestations with paraphernalia. I want to emphasize here Krishna is using a very nice word, sweet word. He says, Maya sakta mana asakta. Asakti means attachment. So mana means mind, and that's where word mantra is connected to. And of course, controlling the mind and fixing the mind is the basis of every type of yoga. But now here Krishna is adding something you do not find in other yoga systems. He says, practice yoga in full consciousness of me with mind attached to me. So we're all we think of people, and we think of people who we're very attached to or attracted to. That makes thinking about them very easy. When we talk about other yoga systems, okay, meditate on your breath. You don't show attachment. And let me take that attachment one notch higher. What it's meant to be talking about is love. You don't love your breath. You don't love asanas. You don't have a relationship with any impersonal object of meditation. But now here, Krishna said, meditate on me, which in this case means mantra meditation, and with your mind attached to me. There are these other features, but I'm going to just conclude on this and emphasize this. You can know me in full, free from doubt. Prabhupada had elaborated on that in the purport that I read. But here, Krishna is saying, how do you become attached to somebody? How do you become attracted to someone? How do you love someone? You have to know them. If you don't know somebody, you can't love them. And that's what the Vedic literatures are all about. Bhagavad Gita is one part. Bhagavad Gita gives us Krishna's teachings in terms of how to surrender to him. But other texts, particularly Srimad Bhagavatam, which is the continuation of the Bhagavad Gita, is about Krishna's avatars and particularly Krishna's descent to this world 5,000 years ago. And when we hear about that, we hear about Krishna's exploits, we hear about different things that Krishna did, including, for instance, herding cows and living in a very beautiful pastoral setting and enjoying life in a very simple and uncomplicated way. That's how you become attached to somebody. You become attracted. They do wonderful things, all kinds of. Long time ago, must have been 25 years ago, I had one here in Hungary. I had one author who came to see me, and he'd gotten one of our books, and in it he read about Krishna dancing. And he came to me and he said, listen, you have to tell me more about this God, because I'm not a believer. I haven't been a believer all my life. But when you talk to me about a God that dances, now that is some God that I can really believe in. So the God who dances, the God who sings, the God who revels in different pastimes, loving exchanges with his devotees, perfected yogis. When you hear those things, then you become attracted to him, and yoga becomes very easy, because when you're attached to someone, then things really flow. It's no longer a matter of force or obligation, but it happens very spontaneously. And that is what Bhagavad Gita is all about. And we'll see in the 12th chapter, Krishna will explain that this is the real yoga, the yoga of love. Hare Krishna.